Hello, everybody, and welcome to Decoding the WSL, the podcast dedicated to the stats and facts in the WSL. I'm your host, Sam Biccarino, and this is your Game Week 21 preview show. Just 2 weeks of WSL football left for the season. I've got two of the regulars for the show, 2 weeks left to go. One of those is sporting. I quite like this shirt that I feel like it's a very popular shirt from people that love their football shirts. It's a lovely green Mexico number. It's Izzy Duddy. You're almost blending in with the wall behind you.
I know. I get this a lot. My wall's like very Marmite. People either think it's like terrible or they love it. But I've seen a lot of kids wearing this shirt, which is not like the vibe I was going for. But clearly, it's popular. I'll give it that.
As long as it's not that exact shirt and it's just a different one.
It's not my shirt that they're wearing. Yeah. I'd like to clarify that.
You haven't stolen that from a child. Just
not this time, no.
Not this time. Okay, that was one of the other ones. Someone else who I'm also hoping hasn't stolen from a child, but has also gone for a very South American look today, but doesn't match the wall behind him. Tom Maher, how are we doing?
I'm good, thanks, Sam. I'm good. Yeah, I haven't seen too many children sporting a 1978 Peru home kit, to be honest. I'll be honest with you. But I'm sure they're, yeah. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. I'm glad you said it.
Well, I've gone for a Bayern Munich shirt today because I felt that after getting a draw against Barcelona at the weekend, they deserved a bit of a shout out. So this was the least that I could do. We're recording this. I'll just let you know, viewer, that we're recording this on Monday night. So we're recording this before the Arsenal-Leicester game, just because of logistics and when we've actually got time to record. So most of the stats that we're going to talk about will still apply, but some of them might have changed a little bit after the Arsenal-Leicester game. I doubt it, but just keep that in mind. So we don't know what the result is. For all we know, it could have been a 6-6 barn burner. It could have been a 0-0. It could have been Arsenal running right. It could have been Leicester running right. Who knows? But we're just going to carry on anyway and pretend that nothing has happened. Let's start with the game on Saturday, Man United against Brighton. This one Saturday midday. Brighton, I didn't realise this till I started looking at the stats, but Brighton haven't beaten Man United in their last 11 meetings and have never beaten them away from home. Whereas Man United have scored in every home game they've ever played against Brighton. So, Tom, it's much more of a one-sided matchup than probably most people thought.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I suppose I sometimes think about the Brighton of maybe 5 years ago as a completely different beast to the Brighton of today. This Brighton is one that's just beaten Manchester City. I think was it 3-2 earlier this season in Brighton? Like, it was a very good game between themselves and Manchester United. So I don't anticipate it being a one-way victory for Manchester United, especially because they've been struggling a little bit recently. And Brighton do like to play these bigger teams and, kind of come into their own a little bit at this stage of the season against the bigger sides. So, I think it's going to be an interesting game, this one. If United might be able to start Toon, that would be huge for them. I'm not sure where Ziggy will have got to by Saturday, whether she'll be back in the side or not. I think that would be huge for them if she was. Obviously playing against her former side in Brighton. I mean, Madison Haley's been on phenomenal form as well. And, you'd be worrying for United a little bit the way that they've been playing recently, especially given the way that Brighton played in the second half against Manchester City. I kind of feel like Man United season might peter out in this afternoon. I think I'm going to say 0-0 again. I'm going to go against your stats, Sam, which is not my best move usually, but...
Well, to be fair, if there is a time to get one up on Man United, this is probably the time to do it, because they're seeming a bit lethargic. They're seeming a bit lacking energy. They've had a really... I know they're out of the Champions League now, but they obviously were in it until the last round. And they've had a real congested calendar with not the deepest squad. They have added to their squad this season, but probably not enough to counteract the amount of unavailability that they had. So, yeah, I don't see 0-0 as a ridiculous scoreline. And to be honest, I've actually gone for a score that will buck some of my ideas as well, because although Man United have a very good record against Brighton. I actually think they're going to be a bit too tired for this one. I think Brighton are going to be riding the high of beating Man City at home. So I think there's going to be... Oh, do you know what? No, actually, I think Brighton are going to get something out of this, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 United. I nearly talked myself into a draw there, but I'm going to go 2-1 United on this one. Izzy, how about you?
I also going to go 2-1 to Brighton. I don't know. I'm just feeling something. The seagulls in the air, they're squawking. I don't know. I think
that's not a phrase, by the way. That's not a phress. The seagulls in the air.
It is now. Listen, when you hear it in Dario's post-match press conference, then you'll be sorry. No, I think like they're a confidence team. They're growing into a confidence team. Like, it's not just the City win; it was that Arsenal win in the FA Cup as well. They're just like showing so much confidence, and I think for me, it's less about the football this match and more about the mentality. And I think Brighton absolutely have it, and at the moment, United absolutely do not. I've given them a goal because I do think, especially if Toon can get some decent game time, Sandberg's back. Maybe if Mallard can start, like I do think there's threat there. But I actually think Brighton might be able to see this one out. So yeah, I'm going for 2-1.
Fair enough. We know Brighton are quite clinical in front of goal as well. So if anyone's going to be getting the goals past Valentinus Joyce, maybe Brighton are the team. Let's move on to Spurs against London City Lionesses, the first of the games, or one of the first games, on Sunday, this one at midday. The last time these teams met was actually the only time... the only time they've ever met in a league fixture. That was London City Lionesses winning 4-2 at home against Spurs. Freya Godfrey, Tamberg, Paris, Simonen, nilled an own goal, and then Freya Godfrey again. The scorers on the day. They've met 3 other times in cup competitions, Spurs winning all 3 of those, including earlier this season on penalties in the FA Cup. So, yeah, there's not really too much to go off on this one. It's not like one of those where it's a historic matchup. They've played each other loads of times, so it's a little bit harder to kind of predict what you think might happen in this one. I think this could actually end up being really close. I think Spurs are building. They're looking more for performance rather than results because they're not going to get to 4th. They're not going to drop down to 6th. It's very unlikely. I can't remember the exact number of points they are apart. It might even be impossible at this point, but the chances are they're going to finish 5th. They don't really need to do too much else. So they're going to look for performance rather than result. LCO, I think, will really enjoy the fact that they can get into the top half, and they'll really want that. They're level on points to Brighton at the moment, or Brighton have a game in hand. So, maybe they'll change a little bit if Brighton manage to get a bit of a result against Man United, but I think they'll be happy with a point, and I'm going to go for 1-1 in this game because I think that's what's going to happen. I think both teams will get a goal, but I don't think either team is going to run away with it. It's going to be close. Maybe one of the teams will nick it by a goal, but let's go for 1-1. Izzy, how about you?
Yeah, I'm on a similar line of thinking, but I do think I'm going to go 1-0 to London City Lionesses. Similar reasons, but I also just think, like we saw against Leicester, like they can be explosive when they want to, and I think they'll be fired up by that result. So I can see them getting something out of this game. Whereas I think, Tottenham are just going to want to lock it down as much as possible. So yeah, particularly following that Man United 0-0, I think 1-0 will kind of see it out nicely.
That'll hurt Spurs as well. 2 games in a row without a goal. Tom, are you back in the same?
Yeah, it's interesting. Again, I think we're all 3 of us going for different scores or different results because
one of us has got
I
right.
think I'm back in. I think I'm back. Yeah.
Hedging our bets for
sure. Yeah,
I promise we didn't agree this beforehand. It just happens to be that we don't agree.
Yeah, I am back in Spurs in this one. I think maybe Leicester made London City look a bit better than they are because they were so bad on the weekend, to be honest. I do think they've made real strides, and I think Delphine Cascarino has gone under the radar, but I think she's a fantastic signing and a really, really good player, like one of the best players in the NWSL for the last few years. And, she looked good. She created a few chances for London City, but I think Tottenham at home, they've been good. And, I think that game that they played in the FA Cup was one of my favourite of this season. It's just a fantastic game, just like everything you love about a cup tie. So, and obviously the 4-2 was so exciting as well. So I really hope it's another exciting game. But I'm kind of on the same wavelength as both of you as far as it being quite tight and relatively low scoring. I think it's going to be 1-0 to Spurs. I think the cockerels will be squawking. And Spurs are going to take 3 points.
Do they squawk or do they go like, well, I don't know.
What would you call that? Is it?
They squawk as much as seagulls do.
I don't know. Not
like
really good with words.
Are we going to come up with a phrase for every game? I don't think we can keep this up. I don't know.
I can, Sam.
All right, well, Izzy, we'll throw this one over to you first. In fact, no, we'll come to you last on this one, Izzy, to give you time to think something up. It's Manchester City hosting Liverpool, also Sunday at midday. In having a look at this game, I realised that Liverpool have struggled going away to Manchester City. In fact, the last time that Liverpool won away at Man City, Fight for This Love by Cheryl Cole was number 1 in the UK, and Westlife and Jay Sean rounded out the top 3. So it's been a while. That was back in November 2009 in the National League North. And yeah, quite a while ago. So it's not a happy hunting ground for Liverpool. Manchester City away. City have actually won 13 of their last 14 meetings as well. The only outlier in that was Liverpool winning 2-1 at home in 2023. The scorers on that day were Dowie and Missy Kearns. So yeah, 2 players that aren't even at the club anymore. So I personally am going to really push the boat out here and say I think Manchester City are going to win this one. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory. I don't think it's going to be a mad victory. You know, they have 2 games that they know now that they do need to win, because if they slip up, Arsenal are sort of there to come and get them. So I can see it being, you know, they get a couple of goals head start. They maybe don't risk too much. They maybe rest some players for that final day of the season. So yeah, I'm going to go 2-0. Tom, over to you.
Yeah, I think with Liverpool, obviously it's really interesting because it's Gareth Taylor returning to City for the first time since he was sacked. So that will be an interesting kind of outlier for this fixture over the years. I think that he'll obviously have a point to prove. And I think I've been so impressed with Liverpool since January or even December, but they were really bad against West Ham. I think it was their worst performance since the turn of the year. I just thought they lacked invention and looked a lot like the Liverpool that we grew accustomed to at the start of the season, you know, just very happy to be in possession and not really without much of a cutting edge. And if they play like that against City, they will be punished. And I'd be concerned for Liverpool if they try and play out from the back and City do that high press to them, and they don't utilise playing those long balls, which we know Gareth Taylor doesn't always love doing. So I think they need to be adaptable. They have been that this season since January, so we shall see. I think I'd like to see, obviously, of course I would, but I'd like to see Denise O'Sullivan back in the starting lineup. I thought they missed her. She came on for the last 10 minutes, but they did miss her in midfield because it just looked very pedantic and slow, pedestrian, sorry. So, yeah, it's hard to predict anything other than a City win here. I think City are going to beat them 4-1. That's my prediction.
4-1. Yeah, comfortable victory, that. And listener, viewer, I'm sure you're on the edge of your seat, as am I, as to what rogue phrase is he going to come up with here. Off you go.
Well, Sam, I think the moon will be beaming down on the stadium.
Yeah, fair enough. I was really wondering what you were going to do because I couldn't think. I was thinking animals still.
I was hoping the moon would be squawking, I gotta say.
I did want to, get the liver bird to live a little, but I couldn't make it work. No, I think it's going to be 3-1. I think that Gareth Taylor is slowly learning his stubborn lesson. And I do think Liverpool have been a bit of a comeback team and they'll be disappointed with that West Ham game. And we know, like you said, Tom, Denise O'Sullivan, Kerry Holland's been on top form. Like they have got people in that team that can put things past, especially if Yamashita's not feeling, super confident after that sort of shaky game against Brighton. But equally, I think City are going to want to really put a stamp on things now for their home game before the end of the season. They're likely to win the league, so they're just going to want to throw everything at it. 3-1 is what I think will happen.
Fair enough. On to the slightly later game on that day, Leicester hosting Chelsea. It's not been a good team to play against. Chelsea for Leicester City. Leicester were the first team actually to take points off Bompastor's Chelsea with a 1-0 fixture in this 1-0 result in this fixture last season, but that is the only good news because the other 9 meetings have all been Chelsea wins, with Leicester failing to score in 7 of those 9 meetings. Not good for them. But Leicester, well, this is one that we don't know exactly what mindset Leicester are going to be in, because if they have lost on Wednesday to Arsenal, which you will know by the time that you listen to this, then they will be at a point where they can just play without fear. They can play without result. It's fine. Not that it doesn't matter, because they're still going to want to win, but teams have that little bit more freedom once they're already relegated, don't they? Or, once their position in the table has been confirmed. But yeah, I think it's going to, Tom, I think this is just going to comfortably be a Chelsea win, surely.
Yeah, 3-0 Chelsea, I'd say. I think it's going to be... I'd like to see Leicester play with a bit more freedom or, try a few new things. Obviously, it's difficult to do that against Chelsea, but, with thinking about that playoff, because they probably will lose to Arsenal, you'd imagine. And God, if they win their last 3 games, they deserve to stay up, to be fair. But I don't think they're going to, sadly. So I think a comfortable Chelsea win here. I think this is what Chelsea do as well. Like, even if Leicester weren't in the shape they are at the moment, I think Chelsea would be have enough about them to get the 3 points here.
Yeah, I think like those other seasons where they've played them 10 times and Chelsea have won 9 of them. Leicester haven't been in this kind of position every season. Chelsea still managed to run away with it. But there is an alternate universe somewhere where, well, maybe it's this universe, who knows, where Leicester do win those final 3 games and still don't stay up, which is a bit painful. But if you're not a Leicester fan, it's a little bit funny. Izzy, Izzy, are the foxes squawking?
No, they're not squawking. Do you know what sound they're making? And I know because I live with about 10 of them down my street. They go at like
they do,
midnight.
I used to have foxes on my street as well, so I know full well how annoying that is.
So, yeah, while I'm trying to sleep, it's absolute nightmare. And similarly, I think this scoreline might make Leicester fans go... This has surely got to be like Sam Kerr shooting practice. To put it bluntly, I think I'm going to go 4-0. I think actually, despite obviously, getting the results, Chelsea have been a little bit off form, and I think they'll want to kind of prove their sort of classic Chelsea bullish mentality sort of in front of a team like Leicester who are pretty, down and out. So I think they're going to be on firing form and try and put as many past Leicester as possible. So yeah, I'm not anticipating a low scoring game here.
I'm going to go a little bit lower scoring than you two. I'm going to go 2-0 Chelsea. Not necessarily because I think Leicester are going to get anything out of this, because I don't think they're going to score, but because I think Liv Clark has been really good when she's played for Leicester this season. I said in the review show that compared to the post-shot XG she faced, the expected goals on target, she actually overperformed despite the fact she conceded 5 goals. She is quite a good goalkeeper for a team that's bottom. I feel bad for her because I feel like she's better than the second keeper of a team bottom of the league. But with Leipzig, I think still out for this game. Hopefully she'll get another chance. Hopefully for her sake, she'll get another chance. And then, Chelsea are going to have to create a lot of chances to be able to score more than sort of 2 goals. So I'm going to go for a 2-0. That's my thoughts. Monday's game, this caught me off guard. That when I was preparing for this pod, it was when I remembered that it's Bank Holiday Monday because I'd forgotten. Monday at 1:00 is Villa against West Ham. Villa are... I didn't realise as well how one-sided this is. Villa are unbeaten against West Ham in their last 7 games, including 3 wins in their last 3 games. The last time West Ham beat Aston Villa was October 2022, and the only player who started that game that's still in West Ham's squad is Vivasei. So it shows how much of a change West Ham have gone through in the last sort of 3.5 years. That Vivasei is the only player that still remains, and to be honest, majority of the Villa squad had changed as well in that time. This is one that I think Villa are probably the more likely team to win, but West Ham are looking... I don't know what's happened. They seem to have turned a corner a little bit. They don't look as... Don't get me wrong, they don't look like they're going to go and win every game, but in the nicest way, they don't look as bad as they were. They don't look as leaky at the back as they were, which I think was a real problem for them. They quite quickly became the team that had conceded the most goals in the league outright. And now I think there's 3 teams that are on 41 goals conceded, and sort of partly because West Ham just haven't been shipping as many goals. So I still do think that I wouldn't be surprised if West Ham score, but I am going to say Villa are going to keep a clean sheet in this one. I'm going to say it's only going to be 1-0 though, because I do think that not that Villa aren't able to go and score more, but I just think West Ham are doing a lot better defensively recently. With Rita Guarino, she's obviously been there a few months now. She's maybe implementing a bit more of what she wants to do. And I think defensively, they're tightening up a bit. So I'm going to go a Villa win, but just 1-0 on this occasion. Tom, we'll come to you first.
Yeah, I think this game kind of stinks of end of season silliness. Like everything's pointing towards an Aston Villa win, so West Ham will probably win. Just like one of the, when it gets to this point of the season and like a lot of the results just start to not make sense, and you're just like, what the hell happened there? So I'm going to go 1-0 to West Ham. I think they're going to win. Probably another own goal, gives them a 1-0 away win.
And finally, Izzy.
I have no puns for this one. Aren't you glad?
Oh.
God, I'm on fire today. I agree with you, Sam. I think it's going to be 1-0 to Villa. Although I have to say, and I didn't say this in the review pod, but to Tom, your point, I think West Ham winning 1-0 by an own goal is literally the most West Ham thing that could have possibly happened this season. So, of course, it probably will happen again. So I wouldn't be surprised, but I do think Villa will clinch it.
So a really low-scoring games. We've all predicted 1-0 one way or the other. So that's going to be an absolute barn burner, isn't it? Okay, we're going to go, because we're not recording again until a week on Thursday, so we're going to look at the sort of other 2 games that Arsenal had rearranged, or not the other 2 because there were 3, but 2 of the games. One of them, Brighton against Arsenal. And Tom talking a minute ago about silliness at the end of the season. Brighton won this fixture last season in May 4-2. They also knocked Arsenal out of the FA Cup this season. And yeah, they've obviously just beaten Man City. At the time of recording, we don't know what's going to happen on Saturday against Man United. But yeah, we've already had Izzy's predicted a Brighton win. Tom's predicted a draw in that one. So 2 out of the 3 of us think that Brighton are going to get something out of that game. The only thing that's sort of going in Arsenal's favour, I guess, which is a very rare thing to say in this sort of scenario, is that Arsenal have never failed to score in a league game against Brighton. So with that in mind, Izzy, I'm going to come to you first because I've realised I haven't come to you first in any of these games yet.
No, you haven't.
No, so you're going to go first on both of these last 2. So think far into the future. What's going to happen a week on Wednesday?
I'm going to say like equal levels of squawking. I think maybe like a 1-1 a 1-1 draw.
All the squawking of the seagulls and the cannons.
Yeah, I think just they're going to be tired, and I think Arsenal are not going to let Brighton do it again for a, second time since that FA Cup, but also, do that sort of let Brighton have one over on them like they did at the end of the season last year. So I think it will be pretty cagey. So yeah, I'm going to go 1-1, maybe even 0-0. Who knows? I'm not a mind reader. It's a week from today. I can't predict 2 pods in advance, Sam. It's ridiculous.
Hey, don't blame me, blame the schedule. Maybe next season we'll be a bit more prepared and we'll be recording 3 times a week or something to get around it. But I say 3 times a week as if, because we currently do that. A little peek behind the curtain. I don't think that this is going to be a 0-0. I think this could actually end up being one that's going to have a few goals in it. I think Brighton aren't going to let Arsenal sit. I think Brighton are going to come at them like we saw against Man City, and I actually think this is going to be a similar scoreline. But I think Arsenal are going to be the ones that come out on top. I'm going to go for a 3-2 Arsenal win. I think it's going to be a bit of end of season silliness, a bit of wrong decisions getting made, tiredness, because don't forget both of these teams have got a game on Saturday and have then got a game on the Wednesday. So it's not like they've had, one team's had loads of rest and the other one hasn't. Brighton are coming off the back of playing both Manchester clubs. They're going to be probably quite tired. Arsenal are going to be coming off the back of, 3 games in 10 days or something. So they're going to be a bit tired, albeit with a slightly larger squad. So yeah, I'm going to go 3-2 to Arsenal. How about you, Tom?
Yeah, interesting. I was kind of tempted by what Izzy was saying there with the 0-0, because I feel like that could potentially suit both sides in a way, just because both, like you said, will be tired. And, Arsenal will have played on the Wednesday, the Saturday, and then the Wednesday again, which is pretty intensive, especially for a squad that has a few of its key players missing right now. But I think that Brighton have shown that they kind of know how to play against Arsenal and know how to make it uncomfortable for Arsenal. And I think they're going to win this one. I think Brighton are going to win 2-1. I think they're going to make it hard for Arsenal again. And just maybe the difficulty of having to rotate certain players against Brighton might prove a little bit too much for Arsenal.
Fair enough. You two are significantly more optimistic about Brighton than I am. I think if I just look at these scores, I predicted Brighton to get 0 points out of 6. You two have both predicted them to get 4 points from Manchester United away and Arsenal at home. And we'll have to wait and see who's going to be right. The final game that we're going to look at is then the following Saturday. So we're looking a bit far in advance. So if we're wrong, that's why, because we're going to be so right about the rest of it. Villa against Arsenal. This was also part of that horrendous run for Arsenal at the end of last season. They lost 5-2 away at Villa just before they lost 4-2 away at Brighton. This was actually, that game last season was Arsenal's only loss against Villa in their last 7 meetings. Izzy, Arsenal are going to have quite a few games to play, and they've still got, they're going to have 2 more after this as well. How do you think this one's going to go?
Yeah, I feel like it might be kind of a similar situation to last season. I don't know. It just feels like the prophecy might return. And I think I'm going to say 3-1 to Villa, actually. I think Villa are the type of team is that if they can score early, they'll keep go, like they'll have the momentum. And, Arsenal may try and break that, but actually, if they can kind of get a positive foot in the game earlier on, I wouldn't put it past Villa to take this one. And, also by that point, Arsenal will be wanting to see out the games. Hopefully they'll kind of know where they're standing in terms of spot in the WSL. They'll know whether, they're in the Champions League final or not. And whereas I think, Villa need as many points as they can get on the board to just finish off the season with where they want to be. So, I think they'll really go for this one.
Yeah, Villa. I think Villa probably haven't got quite as much to play for, because Arsenal will still be umming and ahhing about whether they're going to finish second or third, depending on their results. Whereas Villa they're not don't get me wrong, they're going to want to finish high up in the table as they possibly can, but they're not going to get Champions League football. They're also not going to get relegated, so it's going to be something in between for them. But Tom, are you agreeing with Izzy? Do you think Villa are going to get a win against Arsenal?
I think Arsenal will come back in this game and win. I think it's very hard to predict. Like, Arsenal will play was it 3 games or in between now and then before they get to Villa? So it's quite hard to know what they're going to be, how they're going to be feeling going into that game. But I think that they will beat Villa this time around. I'm going to say 2-1 to Arsenal.
2-1 to Arsenal. I'm going to go 3-1 to Arsenal. I think there's going to be a comfortable Arsenal victory. I think that they're going to get into a bit like they did in the Champions League last year. It's not necessarily going to be great performances every game because it's not going to be possible, but I can see this is the kind of game where players are tired. They're playing every 3 or 4 days, but Stina Blackstenius, so therefore Arsenal will win, and she'll get a couple of goals that will just be ridiculous anti-football, but it doesn't matter as long as the ball crosses the line, it's fine. So yeah, there we are, all wrapped up, and they will be out on socials so we can all see all of our glory / cry about how bad our predictions were. No, I think generally throughout the season we've done pretty well with predictions. It's not been 100% perfect, obviously, but I think we're pretty good. I think that's shown because we're all doing decent in aerial fantasy. I'm in our little mini league with the 4 of us. I'm 3rd, but I'm the top 200 in the world. I think we know our stuff. So
I love how you don't mention that I'm 4th and I'm definitely nowhere near the top 200.
Well, I don't know where you are in the world, Izzy.
I'll tell you.
Well,
right
I know you're near
now.
London, but I don't know where in the area. Yeah.
Well,
you got
the joke.
The person who invented football isn't the best footballer.
Wow, Tom, that was so deep. Thank you. I needed that.
What are you trying to say about the Decoding the WSL panelists?
I'm 977th in the world for context.
So what I'm hearing is top 1,000.
It's pretty good still.
That's a good spin. You should work in PR.
So for aerial fantasy, which we're going to go on to next, we've got the first ever triple game week, which is exciting. Aerial fantasy has never seen it before. The games that we have got is basically all the games that we've spoken about today. So straight from the Man United Brighton game all the way through to the Villa Arsenal game and also the Arsenal Everton game on the 13th of May. So Arsenal are playing 3 times, Villa are playing twice, Brighton are playing twice. There is a lot of players that you can double up, triple up on. So top picks for this week, it might come as no surprise that my top pick this week is going to be get Alessia Russo in your team. She's pretty rotation resistant. I think that's the main thing for these Arsenal games because obviously they've got a game at Lyon before these games. Part of the reason there's a triple game week. And she's obviously going to be playing in that, but Arsenal have got 3 games and you want those players that are going to be playing in each game. So although someone like Stina Blackstenius might get you loads of points when she plays, she's not going to play all the time. So I'm going to be putting in probably, I've got McCabe and Russo already. I've also got Holmberg, who I think I'm going to take out because I don't think she's going to play that much. And I don't know who I'm going to transfer around, but I'm probably going to put in either Van Domstal or Mariana because I think they're probably going to play all 3 games, or if not, at least 2 of them and get a decent amount of points. I'm probably going to captain Russo. And I think I might end up playing my bench boost this week as well, because when else am I going to do it? I'm also going to try and keep in any Villa and Brighton players that I've got. I know I've got Kirsty Hansen at the moment. When I'm sort of moving players around, I probably try and put in like a Brighton defender or a Villa defender as well. Probably more likely a Villa one, because I think they're more likely to get points against West Ham than Brighton are against Man United. But that's kind of what I'm looking at. So lots of Arsenal, some Brighton, some Villa, maybe keeping in a bit of Chelsea and City because they've only got 1 fixture each, but it's a good one. But obviously, it can be hard to predict that Chelsea with a bit of bombast or bingo. Tom, how about you? What are you looking at for this week?
Yeah, so I'm with you. Arsenal triple up, Russo captain. I've currently got Mariona and Vauban Moy as well, already, so I don't think I'm going to mess with that. I think they're both doing pretty well at the moment. Yeah, I'd be a bit cautious about the fullbacks, but I don't think it's the end of the world if they play 2 games out of the 3. I still think you're probably going to be getting really good points there. Yeah, I've brought in the Arsenal fullbacks, that is, but I've already made my transfers because I couldn't help myself. I brought in
already made your transfers
because she's a visionary. Yeah, Madison
Haley's
Haley's
a
visionary. Honestly, yes. Madison Haley's a visionary, and Lynn Vilms as well has come in. Also, I was kind of annoyed that Delphine Cascarino didn't get me more points, so she had to go, even though she played well and did get me some visionary points. Yeah, so I'd definitely go Lynn Vilms because she's got potential at both ends of the pitch. And then Madison Haley is doing so well at the moment. She's proven she can score against the big sides. And she's a visionary as well on a double game week. What more do you want? I'm tempted to make one more transfer and do take a hit to bring in Ndozi, but I'm just not sure whether it's going to be worth the -4 to bring her in for Elena Lette, who's also playing that one game away at Spurs. So I'm playing with that one, but I don't think I'll do it, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like I don't feel like Ndozi's likely to get an extra 4 points on whatever Lette gets, would be my guess from those. But obviously the Aerial Fantasy extraordinaire, Izzy.
977. I'm in a pickle because I have so many plans and all of them require me to take like -8 hit. So I currently have Smith, Caldente, and Holmberg. I think, Caldente is staying. Russo needs to come in. Whether I go Russo and Smith is something I'm kind of toying with. I don't know if that's like wild, but I feel like could be a good idea. And just take Holmberg out for Vilms. And just, take a hit. But I also want to get Madison Haley in. I've already got Fran Kirby and I've already got Kirsty Hansen. So I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, I think I'm going to be like playing with my permutations for like 5 days before I actually press confirm. But I do think one of Vilms and Haley is probably a must if you're wanting to bring someone in.
I've just been looking at it. I'm absolutely going to be waiting till like Friday, probably, like I normally do, to make my changes. I have just looked at as well, 4 million, 0.2% selected. You can pick up Ella Morris. Could be a good shout. She's obviously not got multiple games, but she's got a home game against LCL and then away game against Brighton as her last 2. And obviously,
don't tempt me, Sam. I'll be taking like -16 at this rate.
Another player I'm actually looking at as well is Caitlin Hayes, 4.1 million. She's not a visionary, but she has got 3 games still, albeit they are Man United, Arsenal, and Spurs. They're not the easiest games for Brighton players, but she might be one that I'm considering putting in.
She did score against Arsenal last time out.
She did do that.
Must be very contrasting feelings for you, Tom. The Irish player that scores against Arsenal.
That's how I felt when McKay scored against Poland.
Don't know whether to laugh or cry or both.
Yeah. It's fine. She won't be at Arsenal for long.
No, well, she might be playing against them next year if the rumours are to be believed. But on that note, we'll leave you for this week. Thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed. Go check out the review show if you haven't already watched it. We also had a bit of a game in Know Your Stat, which was probably the silliest one we've ever done. Which if you haven't listened to it yet, don't go and listen to it. Go and watch it. Check it out on YouTube, or you can watch it on Spotify as well. But it was silly. It was fun. But that's our preview show today, looking a fair bit further ahead in the future than we normally do. But we'll be back again in about a week and a half for a review show. of Game Week 21 and then the final preview show of the season. So yeah, be sure to check it out. Follow us at Decoding the WSL on Instagram if you don't already, and on TikTok. And you can also follow along on YouTube. Go subscribe. We're trying to hit 500 subscribers by the summer. We're at 430, I think, something like that. So we're not far to go. Even if you don't watch on YouTube, just be nice. Just go subscribe. It's not hurting you, is it? Just go do it. Thank you again for viewing or listening wherever you are, and we'll speak to you at the next one.